Coming up on City Spotlight, Season 7 continues along. We are on location in Toledo. We'll talk with the Mayor of Toledo, John Beck, and Larry Stoltz of the Toledo Spring Festival about how Toledo has fared during COVID-19. An update on public works projects in Toledo. And we'll talk the Toledo Spring Festival, the history, the impact, and what this annual event means to Toledo. We're on location, talking Toledo, next on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. Hello and welcome to another edition of City Spotlight. As you can see, we are on location once again here in Season 7, and we are back at a familiar spot, Village Hall in Toledo. Yes, we are doing another on-location episode here on Toledo, first time here in Season 7, and we welcome back to the program a familiar guest, the Mayor of Toledo, John Beck. John, great to have you on again.
Thank you. It's good to have you back.
Excellent. Familiar place for us here at Village Hall, and I'm a numbers guy as we tape here on May 25th. This is the third time for John on City Spotlight, and also recent elections back in April. John was reelected now for a third term. So I guess the number 3 is working well for you.
Yes, I actually filled in, took over for an existing mayor that,
right,
due to health reasons, had to give up, and then I've been elected twice. So.
All right, very good. So what does that mean to be reelected? You obviously have the confidence of the community.
Well, it feels good. I mean, to think that you do have the community behind you, and there's still some projects that I'd like to see finished, but it does feel good to know that the community's behind you.
Not to get too in depth with what's going on in other communities, but it just came to my mind that we had local elections, as we mentioned, back in April, and there was some turnover in a lot of communities. So COVID was a tough time for a lot of communities, but you were able to run for another a term here, and the community obviously felt that you were doing a good enough job. Obviously, during a crazy year that was 2020.
COVID was, it was tough. It really was. But we made it through. We continued to work, continued projects. We did close the office for several weeks, and the girls worked from home. Right. But all the work was taken care of in a timely fashion, and we just went on like a normal day, as far as normal could be at that time.
Again, we're taping here May 25th. Things appear to be on the up and kind of getting back to normal, whatever normal is. I know that prior to our taping, John, you wanted to talk about the excellent work of the Cumberland County Health Department.
The health department was fantastic throughout the whole COVID situation, and they are continuing with their vaccinations and that type of thing. But the administrator did a fantastic job keeping me and the mayor at Neoga and Greena all apprised of what we needed to be doing, and the three of us talked individually also, and kind of developed a plan, I guess, and but with the guidance of Sherry at the health department, we just continued on, and we made it through.
Impromptu question here, but you just mentioned you're working with the other leaders there in the other communities, notable communities in Cumberland County. I don't know how often you guys work together on things, but a pandemic obviously brings people together in interesting ways.
Yes, it does, and like I said, when we were notified about something, Stacy Carl was the mayor at Greenup at that time, and then Marty Hartgett and Neoga, and we talked to each other, we called each other, and kind of developed plans for each community, but wanted to be on the same page with the health department.
Excellent. Great to hear about that teamwork there during, obviously, this last very tough year. Last time we taped with John here was January of 2019. Things are a little bit different now.
Yes.
But the big thing that we were talking about at that time, John, was the Neal Center YMCA was about to open. Obviously, the second year for the Neal Center YMCA was probably not how they wanted it to go with COVID, but albeit, how has the community of Toledo benefited from the YMCA?
It's just been amazing. The fact that we have a YMCA in a town this size is just amazing to me. And COVID hurt them some because they did have to shut down completely for a while. But then once they opened back up with some guidelines, they've gone right on, and it's just been wonderful.
Obviously, when you come into Toledo now, it is probably the first, almost other than the courthouse, probably the first thing your eyes kind of gravitate towards. I can imagine I mean, you have lots of traffic obviously here as you pull around the courthouse square and everything, as you have Route 121. I'm sure there's a little bit more traffic because of the YMCA.
Oh, that's true. But it's amazing to me that when you go to the Y, you see people from other communities that are coming over here and supporting the YMCA, and it's been great for our community.
Yeah, like we talked about right before it opened back there in early 2019. This is a smaller community, and to have a facility like that, you probably get all kinds of people from all kinds of communities.
Absolutely.
All right, very good. Shifting gears now, let's talk some public works, and you guys got a lot done during COVID. Kind of heard that from other communities over the past year, that although people had to been able to stay home, public works and other things in the communities were able to get done. Talk to us about the water main that got worked on.
Well, we had a water main project on East Main. The existing water line, water main, was virtually in the center of Route 121.
Correct.
And it was the oldest water main that still existed in the village. So we had basically a three-part project through a grant and a low-interest loan. We replaced that water main. We built a sidewalk and a pedestrian bridge that goes all the way to the dollar store on East Main.
It's very noticeable.
We at that same time drilled a new well next to our two existing wells, and then we had to do a lot of work on a water tower internally, and then the water tower was painted, and that was all one big project.
Basic things like electrical, water, things you can't take for granted. Obviously, this is something that, as you said, it was long overdue to be worked on. So it must feel really good to get.
Very much so. It was long overdue, and if there was ever a problem, which we had in the past, with a water main issue on East Main, you basically had to shut the road down because everything was in the center of the highway. So getting that replaced, it was a great asset to the village. Plus now they've just come back and they're redoing the dirt work and getting the grass seeded and strawed. So that project is about wrapped up.
Yeah, took care of a lot of things all on that way there, and wow, a water main right there on a very busy road here in Toledo and in the county. Any other public works things of note, or that the village is working on? I mean, COVID is things are kind of getting a little bit better, so there's got to be some great optimism for the second half of this year.
Yes, there is, and we're still looking. We're constantly working on drainage issues in the village because we do have those issues, but we've identified some problem areas, and we're going to concentrate on that. And then at some point in time, we're looking at possible sidewalk on the Burma in places there.
Great.
So to replace some existing sidewalk, but also there'll be some sidewalks in places where there are none. So
okay, very good. Let's shift gears and talk about a pretty big event that took place just a couple days before John and I are taping here at Village Hall. Toledo Spring Festival was back in action. I had 2020 off, obviously, because of COVID. And that's the annual festival that's been going on here for a number of years. We'll talk much more about it in detail in our next segment. But John, it had to be very gratifying as the leader of this community to see the lights back on with everything and the people out and about. What did that mean for the community to have it back?
It was amazing. The amount of people that were in town this weekend was unreal. Car show was probably the biggest car show they've ever had, and just talking to various people that were involved with the Toledo volunteers at the Pronto Pup stand, and the village employees said they realized there was a big crowd because they had more trash than they'd ever had to pick up. So it was well attended. I think people they're just ready to get out and do something, and I think this weekend being the kind of the first thing of the year, they came out in droves.
I was here Friday night and Saturday, so we'll have some video as we're talking now and in our next segment there, and I just missed that gigantic line for the Pronto Pups on Friday night. I ran into a coworker who was leaving, and I was like, oh, I missed it, but I heard all about the Pronto Pups all weekend, even through the parade, so go get your Pronto Pups. Yeah. We talked before this taping with John, and you wanted to mention that, Toledo Spring Festival, it feels like a family reunion.
Well, it is for people that grew up here and have lived there their whole life, and then their family members have moved away, and people come back for the Spring Fest, and it's a chance to catch up and visit and see old friends and family members, and it is really like a family reunion.
What's your favorite part of the Toledo Spring Festival?
Oh, the Pronto Pups by far.
Don't have to sell me on that. Very good. We'll have a lot more on the Toledo Spring Festival in our next segment, but we'd like to thank the time of the Mayor of Toledo, John Beck. John, great to have you on City Spotlight again.
Thank you again.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here. And coming up next here on City Spotlight, we'll talk more about the 2021 Toledo Spring Festival with Larry Stoltz. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Toledo. And we're back here on City Spotlight, this new on-location episode here on Toledo. We continue taping here on May 25th at Village Hall in Toledo. And we welcome first time to the program, Larry Stoltz. He's with the Toledo Spring Festival. Larry, pleasure having you on the program.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. Glad to have Larry here. Larry is a first-time guest here on City Spotlight, but he's not a first-time person on WEIU. He was a storyteller for the Cumberland County This Is Our Story program, and Larry was so good, we had him on twice in that program. So one of those stories was on what we're going to talk about today, which is the Toledo Spring Festival.
Right.
Before we talk about the Spring Festival here in Toledo through the years and the one that just took place, Larry, tell us about yourself.
I've been a resident of Toledo since 1969. Been a mayor, a trustee of the community, very active in our volunteer program, the Toledo Volunteers. I'm also on some other committees here in the community and the county, but right now I am the chairperson for the Toledo Spring Festival, and I have excellent help, and I use the help,
right,
that makes this festival something very enjoyable for everyone.
You've been a part of the community for a long time, and,
yes,
and you had the honor of being the mayor of this community. So you've seen everything, and obviously the Spring Festival has been a big part of it as well.
Been very big part.
All right. Before we talk about the current Spring Festival, give us a brief history of the festival. Okay. I know it's happened at different times and even different names. So tell us about the history.
1948 was the first time we had a community celebration, and it was the topic at that time was the soybean, and we called it the Soa Festival. In 1949, it was a tribute to a country doctor we had here, Dr. Rhodes, and they honored Dr. Rhodes and all of the babies that he had delivered here in the Toledo area. Then in 50, it became a festival. And it was always late in the fall, late as October, and it just kept moving up earlier and earlier. So in 1958, we started again with a festival, and it was always in the fall, always in September. At the time, the Toledo Kiwanis was very active in our community, and a lot of the members were members of the festival committee. This committee went to Springfield at the annual county fair convention. They visited and found a carnival, which they had went to Shelbyville, I believe, earlier, and seen their carnival, noted it was an excellent carnival. We hired them, we asked them to come to Toledo, which they did, and this is our 63rd year with the same festival. And we went through 2 generations of the Lures family, and they've all became honorary citizens of Toledo. So it's been a festival for many years. We used to compete with Arcola's Broomcorn Days.
Right.
It was always the same weekend.
So,
However,
it was a fall festival.
it was still the fall festival. In 1989, the Lures family came to me and said, we need to move to the spring from fall because they were going through our area from point A to point B, and we're in the middle.
Correct.
And gasoline prices had increased in diesel fuel.
Right.
And they asked to move it to spring.
Right.
I fought that because of the tradition of in the fall.
Right.
But in reality, we had to do it, and it's the best decision we ever made because we not longer was the last festival in the area, we were the first. And people were ready to get out and enjoy the festivals early in the spring. And so it's been a success since.
So it's been a spring festival. If I do my math right there, a little over 30 years, it's been the Toledo Spring Festival.
That's right.
All right, so obviously 2020 was a strange and tough year for everyone, and the Spring Festival had to take a year off. That's correct?
That is
So
right.
what was that like when the 2021 came around and it happened the other night, or this past weekend?
When I have been in touch with one of the owners, Andy Shane, since January, and we kept talking about COVID and the pandemic, and he was working with the state of Illinois in regards to health concerns of spreading the virus, and he got the green light from the state on procedures of what we could do, and I said, let's do it. Let's commit. We will follow guidelines, but let's have a festival. There are some communities that haven't decided to do it, but this year we did, and it has been fantastic.
I was here Friday night and Saturday for the parade, obviously, a big parade, big part of the festival as it was. What was that like for it to take place? What was it like to have people and everything going on there? I mean, it was tough not having it last year, but for it to be back, there was a lot of energy in the community over the weekend, wasn't there?
Energy. Yes, there was. When Lorelei and Andy, the carnival owners, came in on Monday morning, I went out to greet them and welcome to the community. And they said, Larry, be expected to see a huge crowd. And I'm still thinking, I'm not negative, but I was conservative, thinking, well, we may have a few extras. But come Thursday evening, we had record crowds, record kids riding rides, and it went through all weekend. It was just phenomenal of what happened in Toledo, in our small community, to draw in that big of a crowd. And we welcome the area communities that come through us from Coles County, Effingham County, Jasper County, Clark County. they know that we do have a wonderful, clean carnival. It's just a safe environment for your family, and it's a pride to have the carnival with us.
Parade on Saturday. I think it ended after about 45 minutes. So a good, long, healthy parade there. Lots of organizations, vehicles from many communities, not just Toledo, Cumberland County, around Courthouse Square. What a beautiful sight that was, and lots of people enjoyed it.
The parade. I'm going to give an accolade to the First Neighbor Bank. Their employees have committed to organize the parade, and it's not a small feat. Trying to get, I've done it. I'm
Yes.
one of these people that I wore every hat in the festival. I mean, every hat that needs to be done, I've done it. But the parade is a big responsibility, and the crew from that bank has stepped up for the last several years and organized the parade, and it is good. And there's a lot of people from the origin of the parade down on by the Toledo Depot all the way to the square, and then when you come around the square, there's a crowd here. But it's not just a small crowd here; it's all the way through,
Right.
and it's nice. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see the parade. I was working in the Pronto Pups stand selling Pronto Pups.
Well, you were busy with the Pronto Pups, as we talked about in the previous segment with Mayor John Beck. I got here Friday night. I just missed that long line that I heard about very quickly after I got here. So, and then we heard through the parade, the world's greatest Pronto Pups are here at the Toledo Spring Festival.
That's right.
We're a couple days removed from the festival concluding, 4-day festival. How do you think it all went?
Well, we're going to be bragging about this festival for years to come. I don't know. It's very hard to understand that we will have this big of a crowd next year, but it was just a enjoy to me and everybody else that worked the festival to see all these people here, and it was. And they were enjoying themselves. The weather was perfect. We have had rainouts before,
Right.
and we will have rainouts again. But this week was a perfect weekend for people to enjoy our Toledo Spring Festival.
And in the video that you've been seeing, as Larry and I have been talking, there was no rain while I was taping. No. The weather was beautiful and nice and warm. Do you have a favorite thing about the festival, or do you just enjoy it all?
Yes, I do have a favorite thing. I was walking through the Midway Saturday afternoon. No, Friday evening. And I watched a mother and her young son. I'm going to get emotional. The little boy was extremely excited. He was just the right height that he could ride.
Awesome.
And I stood back and watched this young man, and he was jumping and he was clapping, and Mom was encouraging him to be excited. So he got on this ride, and he was going, oh, I can't wait. And then when that scrambler took off and threw him against that side, his eyes got this big around, and smile, don't know who they were, but that smile on that boy left a lasting impression of a ride that he could enjoy.
Saw a lot of happy children there on Friday night enjoying those rides, and thank you for that.
I mean, it's just, that's what it's all about, to create that atmosphere that people can enjoy. They visit with individuals they haven't seen for a while. It's like a homecoming. That's what the festival really started out, was a time for residents and relatives and individuals that's moved away that have came back, and it was really a homecoming to start with, and it just had grown and grown and grown over the years. And the car show brought in a lot of people. We had 90 plus entries of cars and antique tractors. Perfect day. The inside of the square, you talking about the beauty of the square and the courthouse. But if you would have been here Sunday afternoon and seen over 90 antique and classic cars on display, couldn't have been any prettier.
Wow.
So, yep, Toledo's place you want to be.
Already pumping us up for 2022 Toledo Spring Festival, and get ready to have those Prono puffs.
That is correct.
Larry Stoltz, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for this latest On Location episode here on Toledo. Thanks for watching City Spotlight. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to City Spotlight. You can check out past episodes, including the one you're watching right now, on YouTube. To check out recent episodes of Central and Southeastern Illinois towns featured on City Spotlight, search on YouTube, City Spotlight, with the show number and the name of the town. Listed on your screen are the last 5 episodes of City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.